Chromebooks are getting their own screencasting app. You can now select multiple sections of text in Google Docs. Flipgrid made some changes to how topics and topic titles work. You can embed TikTok videos in OneNote. And finally, students can now use the Immersive reader in Schoology. Welcome to episode 6 of the EdTech News Brief. I'm your host, Jake Miller, and this is the show where, as the title says, I tell you about the EdTech news, and I keep it brief. And by brief, I mean clear, concise, and just what you need to know. Nothing more, nothing less. This is episode 6. It's June 17th-ish, depending on when I get this out, and I've got some EdTech news to share with you today. Before getting started, I want to apologize for the delay in getting this episode to you. It's been a month since my last episode, and I meant for this to be a weekly show, not a monthly show. But instead of saying just that apology, I also want to say thanks. Thank you for understanding this delay. Many of you saw me post about my mom's passing on Twitter and sent me such kind and caring and compassionate messages, and I really appreciate that. She was an educator, teaching for more than 40 years, and would truly appreciate each and every one of you and the work that you do. With that, let's get started talking about one of my mom's favorite things from her years in the classroom, educational technology. Once upon a time, the market for screencasting on Chromebooks was a one-app game, Screencastify. But later came others on the scene, Screencast-O-Matic, Loom, Flipgrid, and way too many others for me to list here. Well, better late than never, or maybe really, really late rather than never, Google has joined this party. I'm not sure what took them so long, but Google is adding a screencast app built into the Chrome OS in version 103. That is the Chromebook OS, not Chrome on your Mac or PC, but on Chromebooks, there's now a screencast app once you're updated to version 103. It will let you record your entire screen or a portion of your screen. It lets you annotate on the screen while you're recording. It lets you include your webcam and your voice in the recordings. And up to that point, it's pretty similar to every other Chromebook screencasting option out there. What sets Google's native option apart, or will set it apart, are a few things. First, the recordings are automatically stored in your drive and therefore can be easily shared with your colleagues and students. And likewise, it's easy for your students to record things and then share them with you, or maybe submit them in Google Classroom. Plus, it means your data and your students' data is a little more secure. If your school district is worried about that kind of stuff, it's just in the Google Drive ecosystem. My favorite part, though, is the automated transcript that is created with the recording. It is auto-generated, but you can edit the text as needed. The viewer sees that transcript alongside the video. They could use the transcript to jump to certain spots in the video, and they could even search the transcript for certain words. You can also translate that transcript into any Google Translate supported language. The UDL, Universal Design for Learning, and accessibility here is off the charts. But my favorite part is that you can also edit out parts of the recording by clicking on parts of the transcript and clicking skip. That edits them right out of the video. Now, the catch here is that that's as far as your editing can go. If you want to fine-tune your video and become a YouTuber, this is not the tool for you. But if you want a screencasting tool for your classroom, this might be the right one for you. I should note, here's the other catch, that this transcript feature is only there for viewers who are also using Chromebooks. So you have to be recording in a Chromebook, and for them to see the transcript and use those features with the transcript, they have to be on a Chromebook as well. You can share the video with a non-Chromebook user, but they'll only be able to see the raw video. It won't include the transcript, it won't include the translations, and if you skip any sections using that tool with the transcript there too, they will still see those sections. They won't be skipped in that raw video that you send to them. This tool is really only optimized for people recording on Chromebooks, for viewers who will watch on Chromebooks. So keep that in mind. I'll include in the show notes and video description a link to Eric Kurtz's demo of the tool, which does a great job showing what it can do. This feature, by the way, should be available in all Google accounts when using a Chromebook that's on version 103. I've got right here a One by Wacom digital pen and tablet, and I'd like for you to have one too. This handy tool replaces your mouse with a digital pen, and writing on the tablet feels as natural as paper. You could digitally write on PCs, Macs, and Chromebooks. It's great for teachers' use for live lessons, Khan Academy style videos, and detailed feedback, but it's also awesome for students to use for showing their learning. They also come with 3 months of the professional versions of Pear Deck, Explain Everything, Kami, and other tools at no additional charge. So how do you get your own? Well, you could pay for one, or you could share about this episode on social media for your chance to win one. Anyone who shares about this episode on social media with the hashtag #EdTech News Brief will be entered to win a One by Wacom tablet. You've got until the next episode airs to enter. I've got 3 of them to give away, so your odds are good. 1 entry per person. You've got until the next episode airs. Just share about anything about this episode with the hashtag #EdTech News Brief. It could be about the tablet. It could be about one of the updates I give. It could be about the episode in general. You pick, you share, you use that hashtag on a public-facing social media, and you'll be entered to be one of those 3 winners. Okay, so I just used Google Docs to write a blog post that references my book, Educational Duct Tape, a few times. And while proofreading it, I noticed that I totally forgot to italicize the book title each time I referenced it. So I could fix one of them and then use the paint format tool to apply that fix to all of them. Or I could fix one of them, copy it, and then paste it in place of all the other ones. Or I could fix them all individually. Or I could use the new multiple text selection option in Google Docs. You can now highlight a set of text or double-click a single word to highlight it, and then hold down Control or Command on a Mac while highlighting other text or double-clicking other words, and they'll all be selected, even though they're not a continuous set of highlighted text. Separate text highlighted at the same time. Now I could use this to select multiple instances of the phrase educational duct tape and make them all be italicized. You could also do this to delete multiple chunks of text at once or even copy them. The copy option is weird because it just copies these words and then you post just those words. So if you highlight 3 words in different spots in the document and then copy them and then paste them somewhere else, you'll just be pasting just those 3 words. It's kind of interesting. You can also use it with pasting, which is even crazier. For example, if I want to add the book subtitle, an EdTech integration mindset to that blog post each time the title is referenced, I can copy the full title with the subtitle, select all the instances of the title and click paste, and it'll paste it in each of those locations. So if you want to paste one thing in multiple places, you can highlight each of those places, all using Control to select them all at the same time, and then paste it into all of those places at once. It's pretty cool stuff. This feature should be active in all Google accounts at this point.
Hey y'all, Casey Bell from the Shake Up Learning Show. I know you are feeling teacher tired right now, and summer PD may be the last thing on your mind, but what if I could ease that stress? What if you could choose your own PD topics? What if you could do it anytime you want? Well, guess what? With the All Access PD Pass, you can access over 100 hours of teacher PD, take the courses you want, and download your certificate. Oh, and did I mention you can try it free for 7 days? Y'all, this includes all of my workshops, all of my Google Masterclasses, any future masterclasses and workshops that are added, a members-only library of ebooks and cheat sheets, and Podcast PD. Get credit for listening to the Shake Up Learning Show. Y'all, there is so much in here, so much value, and I want you to go try it for free for 7 days. Go to shakeuplearning.com/all-access-pass.
Flipgrid has added 2 minor changes that I'm pretty excited about, even though they're little things. First, you can now start a topic without entering a description. A title is all that you need. And those titles, the second update, can now be up to 45 characters long, making it easier and more likely that you could fit a whole question into the title of the topic. I don't know about you, but I've had a lot of times where I try to put the question in the title and it doesn't quite fit. So I have to put part of it or simplify it or put look in the description for the question. And now those titles are a little bit longer, so you might be able to fit your whole comment there. Hey, don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, click that thumbs up to tell me thanks and ring that subscribe bell down there. And if you're listening to the podcast, don't forget to follow the show or subscribe if that's what your app calls it. And if you have a moment, submit a review. A while back, I remember someone asking me how they can embed a TikTok into Google Slides. The short answer was you can't, but I, of course, had a longer answer with some hacks that could make it happen. Microsoft OneNote users don't need a hack though, because you can now embed TikTok videos directly into OneNote. Just paste the link right into the OneNote and voila, you have TikToks embedded in your OneNote. Years ago, I entered a role as a technology integration specialist in a new school district. The part that I was most worried about wasn't the new colleagues or the longer commute or the new community. It was using Schoology. That school was a Schoology school, and I was completely unfamiliar with it. I was an all Google guy and didn't really know Schoology and was really nervous about using something different. What I found over the 3 years that I was in that role managing the use of Schoology was Schoology is awesome. It's a really robust LMS, and they just added a great piece of UDL and accessibility by working with Microsoft to make Immersive Reader freely available to all PowerSchool Unified Classroom Schoology Learning customers. This means that content within Schoology assignments and pages, the two main parts of what your students will interact with, are more accessible for learners of all abilities. It sounds like it's only active in those 2 locations right now, assignments and pages, but will likely be added to more places within Schoology Learning in the future. So I am recording this, as those of you watching the video can tell, from a hotel room in Mobile, Alabama. And by the way, if you saw the setup I have going right now to make a somewhat decent video setup, you would laugh. You know what? I'll post a picture on social media and I'll put a link in the show notes or the description so you could check it out. I had to move locations from the beginning of the video. I was over there with the sunlight coming in the window, and then I went to dinner, and then there's no more sunlight coming in the window. So now here I am showing you the corner of my hotel bed and the somewhat comfortable chair I have. But why am I in Mobile, Alabama? That's the moral to the story here. I am here fresh off a day of presenting at the AETC conference. It was a blast. Hanging out with educators who are eager to learn, or heck, even somewhat willing to learn, is one of my favorite things. And I'd love to get to do that at your conference or your school district. So if you think there's a good fit for me to be a part of a learning opportunity for you and your colleagues, send me a message, jakemillertech@gmail.com, and let's talk about it. And I know what you're thinking. Number 1, Jake is too busy to come here. Number 2, we are too far away from Jake. And number 3, our staff or event is too small for Jake. But there's a really good chance that all 3 of those things are wrong. I love providing PD. There is a 100% chance that I would love to be a part of yours. And there's a very good chance that we can make it work. I offer keynotes and workshops, but also sessions on choice boards, podcasting in the classroom, Google Sheets, Scratch, Flipgrid, and more. Plus, I've got some ideas for some sessions that I'm just waiting for someone to ask me to develop. Those include 6 tools for quick formative assessment, 7 tools for student video creation, a dozen audio tools for the classroom, and there's more ideas up in here. I just need you to send me an email and give me a chance to present them to your staff or the attendees at your conference. So send me that email, jakemillertech@gmail.com. Time to follow up on a note I received after my last episode a long time ago, a month ago, when I was talking about all the options in Smart Chips in Google Docs. One thing I mentioned was that you could add a date in Google Docs. And I said, it's cool that you could do it, but I didn't really know why it'd be useful. And I said, if you have a way that it'd be useful, please let me know. And my buddy Molly Clodor reached out pretty quickly thereafter on Twitter and said, hey Jake, I use the Dates Smart Chip in Google Docs. If you type in a date, say your next meeting date, you can create a calendar event from there. No need to hop into Google Calendar to schedule. And then she included, thanks for talking about the updates in your hashtag the EdTech News Brief. So thank you for sharing that, Molly. And you're absolutely right. If I could easily get the date there into the doc and it's easy to then create a calendar event from there, that's pretty fantastic. So thanks for sharing that. And finally, the way I'll cap off every episode is with a dad joke. This time, there's a little extra irony here. Every year after Christmas, it never failed, my mom found at least one gift that she had hidden and forgotten to give to someone. It might be me, it might be one of my kids, it might be my wife, my sister, my dad, but she always found one and gave it to us in mid-January. Hey, I found a gift I forgot to give to you. And it turns out that this year was no exception, and it was for me. A few weeks ago, just before she passed away, my dad and I found a book of dad jokes that she had purchased for me. So now I've got new materials for this segment. So I've got my dad jokes book fresh from my mom's forgotten Christmas gift that I get to reference every episode as I do this, which is pretty special and I think it's great. So my dad, my sister, and I were looking at the book of jokes on the day of my mom's passing, looking for something to make us smile after it happened. And this one was our favorite joke, giving us some much needed laughter at that time. So here it is. Why was the cookie so sad? Because his father was a wafer so long. I thought it was going to be something about the cookie crumbling or something. His father was a wafer so long. That's amazing. Amazing. Thanks for listening to today's episode, and then I'll have some special episodes coming to you from the ISTE conference soon, which I'll share more about next week. And I really hope that you'll be back to listen and watch all of them. I'd really appreciate it if you do those awesome things like rating or reviewing the show in Apple Podcasts, liking or subscribing to the show on YouTube, following the podcast in your favorite app, and of course, sharing this episode. And remember, this week there's a bonus. If you share this episode, you then have a chance to be one of the winners of one of those Wacom, One by Wacom tablets. Thanks again for being here. We'll see you soon.